and welcome to the HIPAA Insider Show by HIPAA Vault. My name is Adam Zenedine, your co-host, and joining me, as always, is Gil Vidal, CTO and founder of HIPAA Vault. Hey, Gil, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Adam. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Third part today of 3 parts, so we've come into the final part here. The first 2 parts, the first one was we focused on healthcare and WordPress and plugins for security. The second part was plugins for performance on WordPress. And our final part today, we're going to be talking about functionality, which is very important as well. So we're going to be diving into some healthcare specific tools and plugin functions that you can use for your WordPress site. Yeah, definitely. So let's dive into the plugins and we're going to actually start with themes, Gil. So the first section, we're going to be looking at medical themes. So Astra is at the top of the list. WPAstra.com is what we're reviewing here. They have a number of different themes specific to healthcare. If you go under business and services, you'll see healthcare and wellness, doctor, hospital, dentist and dental, medical clinic, therapist. You name it, they've got it. So we just click on, let's say, medical and clinic, and then you'll see a bunch of options for that, and then you can go and do a live preview. Gil, could you talk a little bit about themes in general and why they're so useful?
Well, the themes are really a great way for a medical practitioner to pick out a theme that's oriented for their practice. So if you're a therapist, you'll have themes that are specific to therapists, and they're really ready to go. I mean, that's the beautiful part. They look professional, ready to go. And how much are they worth? I mean, well, think about how does it cost to design the theme? You know, you're talking $5,000 easy. And a lot of these themes, you can get them for $50, $25. So you could pay more. I mean, there are themes that can cost over $100, but the payment for these themes is kind of interesting, Adam. Some of these themes sell based on how many they've sold. Like if you want to be one of 10 people that owns it, you're going to pay more money. If you don't care that other people are using the same theme, then maybe you don't pay very much at all. Maybe you pay $5. But the theme developer has to make money too. So the way they make money is if they're going to take the theme off of their website because they've sold it to 5 people, and you're one of those 5, let's say, then you're going to pay more money. You might pay $150. So the themes save you time and they save you money. They look professional and they're right up your alley as far as your particular medical practice. So I really think the themes are great for all those reasons I just said, especially saving you time.
Yeah, and the pricing here is listed. It's not, like you said, starting at $49, and then you have a business toolkit that's $149. And depending on whether you're a healthcare marketing agency or you're a startup clinic, there's going to be a plan for you. Moving on to the next theme, MediCenter. And by the way, none of these are sponsoring us. It might sound like that, but these are all themes that just come up a lot because we do HIPAA-compliant hosting for websites. We help customers secure the hosting of the website, and these things come up because we work with developers a lot. MediCenter, as the name suggests, built specifically for clinics, including timetable and booking elements in there as well. And we're gonna talk about booking and forms a little bit later, but this one has everything included. So MediCenter team through the Envato market. If we go to purchase theme, you can see $69 for the regular license, and then you can get an extended license.
The extended license says used by you or one of your clients in a single end product, which end users can be charged for. So the end user means those that are using the website and the services the website provides.
Yeah, so I think this could be useful for, let's say, if it's a healthcare marketing agency and they have a lot of clinics that they're building the site for. This would be a very good way for them to have the extended license to add more and more clinics. They'll get a similar look and feel with some customization, and then they can scale the license that way.
Yeah, that's great, because that would be like, let's say the agency has 10 customers, so they say, well, 2,950 divided by 10,
Mhm.
that's just under $300 per customer, and I guarantee the agency is going to be charging a heck of a lot more than $300 for creating their site. They're going to charge many thousands of dollars. So it's a great deal for the agency or the owner. It doesn't have to be an agency. It could be an owner that owns a lot of clinics.
Yeah, absolutely. So we looked at Astra, MediCenter, and now we're just going to touch on general themes and where you can purchase them. If you don't like how customized those themes are, there's the general market. Themeforest.net, Gil, is one that comes up a lot. It's a marketplace for WordPress themes, whether it's healthcare or other than healthcare. That's a good place to go.
Yeah. How many do you have under the healthcare category? Are you getting a lot?
Let's see here. WordPress. Let's see, healthcare. Yeah, there's 331.
331 under healthcare. That's a lot. So basically, the moral of the story is there are many, many, many WordPress clubs, they call them, or stores, and you can find hundreds, like in this case, 331 medically oriented WordPress themes. And I guess one thing we didn't mention, Adam, at the top of the call is probably worth talking a little bit about for our audience. What do we mean by a theme?
Yeah.
So the WordPress site, the way that WordPress works is you get the look and feel of the site. By look and feel, we mean the font, we mean the style, the images. That's the theme. And the theme is something that is the same throughout the whole site, the home page and all the interior pages. So once you have the theme, the header, the body, the footer, the look, feel, font, color, all of that is called the theme. Once that's done, then you're just basically backfilling the page content. That is, you're adding your own images, you're adding your own content. So that's what we're talking about. That's the theme. And these clubs, these slash stores, boy, they popped up, and there are so many of them. Interesting little tangent, Adam. I know we didn't plan on talking about that, but we could give it a mention, and we could talk about it in depth later. But it's possible now, if you're a good prompter of AI, you could use the AI to steer the AI to create your own theme. You could tell the AI, for example, I want you to create a WordPress theme for me that's medically oriented. Describe your desire, the look and feel, the kind of business you're in. Yeah, you could even say, let me see a picture of the theme. You can say, show me three renditions of this theme for a therapist or whatever. So through AI is another way where you could do it. Now that would be more frustrating if you haven't used AI before, or you haven't used it very much. I wouldn't recommend just thinking, oh, well, Gil and Adam said I could make this great theme if I use AI. No, with AI, you have to know how to drive it properly to make a good one. And maybe we could do that on another podcast, is actually do one of those in a session with AI, and we can show the audience how to properly steer the AI in the right direction. But so that's another way to do it. But I would, for a quick win where you want something that you pay for that has support, say you buy the theme, you've installed it, you like it, footer looks a little funky, out of alignment. Well, if you buy it, you could go back to the author and say, hey, Mr. Author, there's a small bug in your footer of your theme, and they'll fix it for you. But if you get a free theme, or you paid $1, what kind of support do you think you're going to get for $1? You get what you pay for. So don't expect a great support if you don't pay anything for it. So that's why I highly, highly recommend, especially if you're a professional, your time is limited, pay for the plugins, pay for the themes, and you'll be much, much happier because you'll have a professional site with commercial support, which you're going to need from time to time.
Yeah, definitely. And on your suggestion about building a website with using AI, listeners and viewers, if you'd like to see that, hit the like button. And if we get, how many likes? Let's say we get 25 likes on the video, we'll go ahead and do that for you. How about that, Gil?
That sounds good to me. I think it would be fun to do.
And give us a subscribe while you're at it. Okay, so moving on to the second section. So we discussed themes. We're going to talk about booking plugins or scheduling plugins. And the first on our list is a WP booking calendar. Before we dive into it, though, Gil, could you discuss the use cases here? I mean, I suppose at a high level, it's pretty obvious. It's if someone on the site wants to book an appointment, right?
Yeah, for booking appointments, I think there's a lot of these booking scheduling type of plugins. I personally, Adam, use Calendly for my appointments.
Yeah.
Because Calendly ties into my Google Calendar and it shows exactly when I'm available. So when someone wants to meet with me, I just send them the Calendly link and they pick a time I'm available, they schedule it. So if somebody uses Calendly, I'm sure that WordPress has a plugin that would be integrated with Calendly or with your Google Calendar. So that's something you want to pick something that's integrated and works with your calendar. Maybe you're an Outlook SharePoint shop, and that's what your technical platform is, a Microsoft Outlook. So find a plugin for scheduling that merges and integrates with your Outlook calendar. But if you're a Google shop, and by shop, I mean, it's your preference, right? Your whole business is centered around either Google or Outlook. Those are the two big ones. So if you're more into Google, then find a plugin that will use the Google Calendar for your practice and make sure that it only allows scheduling for those days that you want. And it won't schedule it on a Sunday if you don't work Sunday. It won't schedule it on the holidays if you're off the holiday, and so on. So you want to look for the integration. You want to make sure that this scheduling plugin is integrated with your back-end calendar.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Calendly is a very popular tool. As you said, we use it internally. One thing to make a note of is whatever tool you're using, does it have a plugin in WordPress? The last time I checked, and I just did a quick check here now as well, they don't have a plugin for WordPress, so you'd have to manually embed the code into the WordPress site, which is all well and good. Your developer can do that pretty easily. The issue is if you have patient data, you want the data to be stored rather than being stored on Calendly's website or database somewhere. You want it to be stored in the WordPress database. So I would recommend going for a plugin that is for WordPress. And so what we're reviewing here is WP Booking Calendar. And that is, it is a plugin built. There's a free version. There's pricing there as well, and it is very, very good. We've got a lot of our customers that say very good things about it. Again, not sponsored. If they'd like to, please reach out to us. So there's a personal version for $39 a month, and then it goes up to $349 for the multi-user. Let me just double check if that's per month or so. It's $39 every 6 months. Yeah, and that includes the and then the next. Any comments there on WP Booking Calendar, Gil?
I don't have any additional ones. Just I do recommend that you try at least two. Yeah. I mean, WP Bookings, like Adam said, has good recommendations, but that's not the only one. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of these. So spend an hour, maybe if you don't have an hour, spend 20 minutes, but look at least two of them.
Here's the second one.
See. Okay, Bookly number 1, WordPress appointment booking plugin. Yeah, that's a popular one. Obviously, the bigger ones, they have more money behind them, more developers, and they have more features. But sometimes, you know how it is in the world of software. Sometimes you get inundated with a million features, and all you need is something very simplistic. And all of these features just clutter everything, and it gets too complex. So if that's your situation, you say you're a one-man band, a one-woman therapy clinic, and it's just you. So you probably don't need anything crazy complicated. You could find a simple one that will do the job just fine. So keep all of that in mind. Now, you may, on the other hand, maybe you've got a very busy practice with all sorts of shifts, and you may want something that is more complicated, that can text the customer after the calendar item's made and make sure to send them a reminder. Don't forget you have the appointment tomorrow at 2. If you need to cancel, hit the button C. I mean, it can go on and all the features. So think about it ahead of time. What is it that you want? And then find that plugin that meets most of the features you're looking for.
Yeah, and the Bookly plugin, there's a lifetime free option, Bookly Start, that allows you to schedule unlimited appointments up to 5 services. So services meaning, different types of medical services. In this case, you can have 5 different ones. Essentially, I would say that would equate to, on Calendly, Gil, something like types of calendar event, right? You can have a 15-minute discovery call. Right. You have a 30-minute with a bunch of team members on it, et cetera, et cetera. Or if you're a larger clinic, there's Bookly Pro, which is $33 a year. So very affordable. And again, the key here when it comes to HIPAA is to ask the question, whatever booking tool that you're using is, can the data, which in this case would be patient data because it's patient scheduling the appointments, can that data be stored securely in the WordPress database? And that's where HIPAA-compliant hosts like HIPAA Vault, which myself and Gil represent, are where they come in. So hosting the WordPress site securely can be done. And if the scheduling plugin allows for the data to be stored in the WordPress database, as opposed to with the booking plugins servers in the cloud somewhere else, then yeah, it can be made to be HIPAA compliant.
Yeah, and I would like to emphasize what you said, Adam, that it's a misconception sometimes where people think, hey, is this plugin HIPAA compliant? Well, WordPress core, that's the core function of WordPress, and all the little plugins that you add to it, all of that should be in a HIPAA compliant environment. So what makes the software HIPAA, part of what makes the software HIPAA compliant is the environment, where it lives, right? You can live in a good neighborhood. You could live in a bad neighborhood, right? You have a choice. What kind of neighborhood do I live? Well, if you want to live in a good neighborhood, that's like living in a HIPAA compliant when you have to move yourself and your family into that neighborhood. So the same thing with software and plugins. If you move your plugin into a bad neighborhood, it's not HIPAA compliant. If you move it into a good neighborhood, it's HIPAA compliant. But the software itself also has a HIPAA compliant component. What do I mean by that? Well, the plugin may be designed in such a way that it's easy to exploit and hack. So that's why you want to find a provider, a plugin author that has multiple versions, that have a history where it says security update, patches, updates. That's the technical term for, hey, I found a vulnerability and I fix it. So you want to see that kind of history. And you can only find that at the author's website. You go to the website, click on releases, and you can see all the releases. You can quickly just eyeball it. You don't have to read every line. Just eyeball it and say, oh, they've been around for a couple of years. They have 10 versions, and I see they're mindful and they're updating it regularly, not once every 2 years, but every quarter at least, they have an update. Those are all good signs. That's not a guarantee, though, right? We never said that's guaranteed, but it's a good sign, very promising that likely that plugin will be, from an application point of view, will be a safe plugin.
Yeah, stay secure moving forward, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the final part of the functionality section that we're going to talk about today, we'll just go briefly over this, Gil, is forms, because we have done a number of detailed deep dives into forms in the past. So we'll just gloss over a couple of them, or not gloss over, we'll just touch on a couple of them. WP Forms, a well-known form plugin out there. And then the other one is Contact Form 7. Both offer free options, and then there's also paid supported versions of the plugins, and they're very useful. Gil, when it comes to forms, what's important to enable, regardless of what plugin you're going to use for security purposes on the form?
Well, the Contact Form 7 is very, very popular as this WP Forms. When you're creating a form, what these tools do is they allow you to make a form the way you want to make it. You say, I want the first name, last name, the age. I want to know something else like their address, whatever. You make up the form as you go. You say, these are the fields I want. So what you're looking for is the flexibility to include the form fields, define them. And from a security point of view, you just want to make sure if that data is encrypted, if they encrypt the data for you in the database, that's a good sign. HIPAA Vault encrypts the entire website at rest,
sites,
so that qualifies. But if they go above and beyond that, they say, well, if you click this button here when you make the form, it encrypts the data, then that would be an extra secure way of being safe and knowing that the data is encrypted when it's in the database. That's called encryption in use. So you may want to look for that. That's probably one good tip that they'll.
Yeah, definitely. And what about CAPTCHA? Is that CAPTCHA? I can never pronounce that properly, but is that to do with HIPAA compliance and security, or is that more to do with just reducing the amount of spam that you get, enabling it?
Yeah, the CAPTCHA is considered spam prevention, because if you don't put a CAPTCHA on a form, the CAPTCHA, for the audience, that's where you either have to look at the image and say, how many traffic lights do I see on this image? You click on all the little sections, or type in the letters you see here, whatever. That's a CAPTCHA. And the CAPTCHA is mainly for preventing spam. If you don't have CAPTCHA, you're going to get gobs and gobs and gobs of bots. Those are automatically filled forms that they have a little robot that fills it out with garbage. And you may ask, why would they do that? I can't tell you all the reasons why they do it, but it happens all the time. And you'll be super annoyed that your forms are being filled out with garbage. So you're going to want to protect the forms by using
the angle there. Okay, so we've reviewed themes, plugins for booking, and plugins for forms. And this brings us to the conclusion of our 3-part episode. So the first part was security. Go check it out if you haven't already. The second part was performance, and this one has been about functionality, an emotional one. Three episodes. Any final thoughts on any of those topics?
I just think it's good. I know the medical professionals are very, very busy. So a lot of times what they do is they'll assign the task to their administrator saying, hey, go find a form, we need this, or go find this theme or whatever. And that's fine. I mean, you need help, you need an assistant, but make sure that you stay involved. So you look at the theme yourself, make sure that the administrator is looking in the right places, that the plugins they're looking at, that they looked at least at 3 of them. Do all the things that we recommend. Make sure if you're going to pass on the responsibility to somebody else, make sure they're doing that. Because I get it. You guys are very busy and you need some help. So that makes sense. But you do want to keep an eye on it to make sure.
Fantastic. Well, that's it for this episode. Like, subscribe, share, stay compliant, and stay secure.